Hello everyone and welcome to Panasonic TOUGHBOOK's Defence Solutions Forum. My name is Peter Thomas and I am the Vertical Strategy Manager for the public sector business in Europe. We have an absolutely fantastic agenda today. Hopefully the TOUGHBOOK 40 launch video that you just saw gives you a flavour of what's to come today. We have a huge range of speakers from right across Europe, but also right across the defence industry today. And I'm absolutely fascinated to see what they have to say and the insights that they're able to share with us today. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'll hand over to our Managing Director for the TOUGHBOOK European business, Daichi Kato. Over to you, Daichi.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for spending your time with us today and welcome to TOUGHBOOK Defense Solutions Forum. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to all the defense or law enforcement frontline workers and partners for your incredible efforts over the years. Panasonic wants to thank those who keep us healthy and safety. Thank you. Next, please. Let me introduce myself very briefly to you. My name is Daichi Kato, heading Panasonic Mobility Business in Europe. I'm based in London. I joined the Panasonic Corporation in Japan in 2002. Since then, I have worked overseas for more than half my career in the UK, US, and France, in spending my time in manufacturing, operation, and sales. Next, please. In terms of the Panasonic structure, we are the Panasonic Connect company, which is a B2B solutions business provider. Its headquarters is Tokyo, Japan. Besides mobile solutions business, we have a media entertainment division, flight entertainment, avionics division, and the process automation. Additionally, we have software companies Zetis, based in Belgium, and the Blue Yonder, based in Scottsdale in the United States. Our Panasonic Connect ambition is to provide a cutting-edge hardware technology and the software in terms of the end-to-end solutions. Next, please. Panasonic has provided a purpose-designed rugged computers for defense customers and partners for the last 2 decades. In 1995, the CF-25, known as the first fully rugged TOUGHBOOK, was born to predominantly to US MOD market. Over the years, we highly appreciate your support and the business as a trusted partner. Last year, we celebrated TOUGHBOOK for the 25 years anniversary. Clearly, we would not be here without your support. As you see from the left on top, one of the quotes from founder of the company, which is I like most, we need to take customers' skin temperature every day to contribute to society. Hopefully, today's event will facilitate further connection and the discussion with all of you. Next, please. End of May, we globally launched TOUGHBOOK 40, which is fully ruggedized 14-inch clamshell. I would say our 25 years experience and the know-how expertise are embedded as a TOUGHBOOK DNA. This is purely designed for public and defense applications. Next, please. Just 2 weeks ago, I really enjoyed meeting with all our customers, partners, prospects at the EuroSatory and the TOUGHBOOK customer event called the Diamond Club in Paris. I must admit, TOUGHBOOK Europe is a newcomer to contribute to European defense business. However, together with all your support and the ecosystem, I'm convinced and confident we can grow together. Next, please. This represents our European TOUGHBOOK business philosophy. What we want to achieve, we are making a world where mobile workers can connect from anywhere. How? By realizing unrivaled product innovation, customer intimacy, and operational excellence. Suffice to say, our customers' happiness and our colleagues' happiness are always at the center of our business. Next, please. So this is my last slide. I like to close my opening session by sharing my dream. Panasonic vision is a better life and a better world. One of the 7 principles, again, is contribution to society. So we are committed to providing product innovation for defense and the customer partners. My father used to work for Tokyo Met Police for more than 35 years. I do understand the level of your commitment. I hope TOUGHBOOK will become a well-known brand synonymous with safety and security. Thank you very much for listening. I am now handing over to Pete and John to speak about TOUGHBOOK solution lineup for defense space. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to the TOUGHBOOK lineup for the defense sector. I'm joined again by Pete. So my name is John Tucker. I'm heading up product and engineering for TOUGHBOOK in Europe. So what we want to do in this session is talk around some of the products, some of the solutions that we have available for the defense sector, and basically just give you a general tour of the product. So I'm really excited to be able to show you that. So first of all, let's start with the FZ40. So this is really exciting product, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've just launched the 40 2 weeks ago. It's a 14-inch fully rugged clamshell PC, IP66 protected, military standard 810G. It's built for the defense sector, Pete, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I really love about this product is it's our most powerful TOUGHBOOK that we've released to date. And I think because of how powerful it is, it lends itself to so many military applications. So the level of customization as well is absolutely key to our marketplace, because as we know, the defense market has some really particular requirements. So we have done some engineering work, haven't we, John, around the product that makes it specifically suitable for that market?
We have, yeah. This is the version we've got in front of you. The keen-eyed might notice this sort of red and black sort of extension to the side of the product. That's not part of the standard product. That's part of the customization, as you just mentioned, Pete. The other key thing is the modularity piece. So I've got some pieces here which are interchangeable. So from the palm rest area, there could be an SSD, a second battery, smart card readers, so everything from a modular perspective. And that's really important, isn't it? Because we want the product to keep up with the market and the application.
100%. And what we're seeing in the defense market at the moment is that software is developing at such a rate that actually the hardware is struggling to keep up with it. So to have a device as powerful as this, but that's actually upgradable moving forward, is absolutely key. I also really like about this product that the level of power that it offers is balanced nicely with the level of battery life as well, isn't it, John?
Yeah. So another key point, Pete. Yeah, so 36 hours battery life with 2 batteries, and that's more than an all-day sort of operating sort of ability, if you like. The screen is 1200 nits, but also can be sort of turned down to 1 to 2 nit level, so it can operate in obviously an outdoor daylight environment, but also when it gets very dark and you don't want to sort of disclose your position, you can do that as well. So yeah, the capability of the product is absolutely fantastic. Really, it's true flagship for us.
Yeah, and I think it's really key to note as well, we're getting fantastic feedback from the defence customers that we've already showed this product to. A couple of key applications that we're starting to hear from our customers would be around vehicle maintenance, logistics, and in particular around in-vehicle terminals, which is a really important topic for our defence customers right now. And that's why, as you alluded to earlier, John, we've developed this vehicle mount from product launch.
Yeah, and it's to be able to withstand that type of environment, you're right, you've got to have a fully rugged, sort of by design from the ground up. So you're right, Pete, be able to handle the extreme vibrations, drops, knocks that you would experience more so in that type of environment than you would in a normal vehicle environment. So yeah, that's right. From a modular perspective, it helps us sort of be able to create those bespoke solutions on a relatively low volume compared to sort of trying to change the entire product. I think that's important for us as well, isn't it?
Hugely exciting product for our defence customers, really high powered and offers them future flexibility as well.
It does, and from a connectivity perspective, that's also key. The antennas that are crammed into this product are incredible. If you remove the covers, you've got obviously 4G capability, 5G capability, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, NFC, all sort of packed into a product. harmonize, all have to work together to provide the best level of performance, of course. That will help as well, people, as those applications come to, to rely on sort of really high-speed communication like 5G.
It is a really defence-focused product, I feel, and it's a product that we've been waiting for quite a while.
Yeah.
Conversations have been going on for many years,
Yeah.
so I'm hugely excited now that we're able to offer it to the market.
Me too. So this is the FZ N1 Tactical, or we call it the N1 Tactical. I love this product, Pete, actually. First and foremost, it's a 4.7-inch Android-powered, ARM-powered product. You can see, obviously, a relatively small form factor. Interesting, Pete, this one, we've got it in a case. It doesn't need to be in a case, does it?
No, it doesn't need to be in a case, but we understand exactly the application for our defence users, and really this device will be running battlefield management applications on. And actually, those applications globally are actually quite common.
Yeah.
There's a number of main ones, NetWarrior, ATAC, and so that's the software that we believe that our defence customers would be using on an end-user device like this.
And it's all about attaching it to the soldier in the battlefield environment. So the bracketry you've got, the case gives you that bracketry.
Yeah,
To
and
attach
we've
to the vest,
100%.
yeah?
And so we've worked with one of the major suppliers of these chest mount solutions, and they've engineered a bespoke housing for our N1 tactical device. We know that this will integrate seamlessly into our defence customers' ecosystem, basically.
And that's so if you take a look at the connector, that gives you the ability to have a military standard output to an I/O box that's situated as part of a wider ecosystem. Yeah, that's the point of it, isn't it? It doesn't need to be, it's rugged enough to survive the environment without having a case on it.
Yeah, so some customers may ask why we've put a fully rugged device into a housing. It's mainly to do around providing that fixed connection,
Yeah.
and also providing them easy access to buttons that are going to do the jobs they need them to do instantly.
So what else? Anything on the screen? So of course we've got rain mode, things like that.
Yeah, and typically we would see our defence customers previously using consumer-grade devices. Obviously, they may be very low cost, but one thing that they will struggle with is exposure to the elements. So our device will incorporate technologies that have made Panasonic successful up until now, such as rain mode. What that basically means is that for our defence customers, irrespective of the environment that they find themselves on any given day, that device will operate to the glove mode, finger touch, stylus touch, irrespective of the rain, basically.
It's just got to work, hasn't it?
It's got to work.
The other thing, the key point you mentioned there, from a consumer perspective, of course, the support is very different. The level of supply, the longevity of supply is very different. That's something that this product is designed for, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that the application is mission critical, but also it's critical for our customers to know how long they can be buying this particular device or overall solution for. Often our defence customers are operating over 5 to 10 year programs. And so what we commit to is transparency on roadmap and also a longevity level on supply. And that differentiates us completely from what's available or what has been available on the market before, because we can tailor ourselves to the customer's unique needs.
Exactly. And Android support, we've got a support program that will give you, I know the visibility is up to sort of 2027, 2028, 2029, for example. That's really unusual in this market as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Support in the OS.
Yeah, the OS support is absolutely key as well, and the level of customization we can do around that in-house as Panasonic under your engineering function. And so what we believe is that we're an expert partner for a customer looking to deploy a solution like this, because of our pedigree in the rugged market, but also because of our understanding of the application.
So our challenge now is this is already available in our US market. And what we'd be doing now is basically introducing this to the European market. So I can see you're excited about it.
Oh
so,
yeah, we've been waiting to launch this now
Yeah.
for over a year. It's been hugely successful in the US market with the DoD, been deployed into service. So it's met a number of the environmental tests and classification testing that's been needed to do that. And so really we've actually had European defence customers approaching us saying, we want this product, when's it coming? So we're really excited that now we're able to say now.
So digital soldier, the digital battlefield becomes, we're almost there, So this is the 55, and you know what we're like, Pete, very imaginative of naming products. We've gone from the CF54 of many years ago that created made a large impression on the market. A little bit more wider appeal. Of course, this was the first product that we ever brought modular into the product strategy. So you can do things on this product very similar to what the bigger brother, the ToughBook 40 was about. But tell me more about some of the applications that we can use this product in.
Yeah, you referred to the ToughBook 54, and I think that this is basically our next generation version of that. And that ToughBook 54 was such a successful product for us because of the variety of applications it could be adopted for in the defence market. This really is a better version of the same product. Like you referred to, the modular design of this product means that customers only need one device for multiple applications. That could be something so simple like a different configuration of ports, which means they can access a different platform, different system. Now they just need one device, but a couple of modular differences, and then they can use this single device for a variety of different applications. I think if we look at other improvements, obviously performance, there's a natural progression from a performance perspective, but also from an environmental standpoint, this particular device is certified to a higher level of IP rating. So if we look at applications like the naval environment, this means that it's protected against things like saltwater ingress. And that is a particular issue in that kind of environment. It's not just necessarily about shock and vibration. There are other things they have to consider in each area of the defence market.
Yeah, and what I love about it, it still gives you that level of, if you like, more traditional clamshell notebook. Still has all of those rugged elements, some of those you've just touched on there, but also in a very slim, lightweight design, easy to use from a handle perspective to carry around, doing whatever operation that you're doing. So yeah, it's got a really wide appeal, isn't it? So
yeah, there's a huge variety of applications, as I said, and I think that the consumer look and feel of it is definitely a benefit. So we're seeing a huge amount of success, even more so than we did on the ToughBook 54. And we do understand that some of our customers who may have adopted a previous model will have certain security requirements around encrypted drives. And so we have done some engineering work to make sure that that's possible on this device too.
Using the modular concept. So yeah. So overall, very wide appeal for this product. Yeah, fantastically successful product for us. So yeah, we look forward to showing you this as well. And then this leads us to the G2. I love this because I know this has come from, it's, if you like, the best of both worlds, coming from the G1, which has been massively successful, and the 20. So the approach is still very similar, where it's you can have it as a hybrid 2-in-1, buy it as a tablet only, buy the keyboard as an accessory, so it gives you lots of flexibility for whatever application, isn't it? And it's a smaller form factor.
Yeah, there is a common theme through our product portfolio now around flexibility and adaptability, and I think this is a great example of that. This can be purchased as a tablet only or as a clamshell, and so from a defence perspective, we're seeing applications like in a forward headquarters scenario where you may have 30 individuals on patrol, taking the tablet, coming back to the headquarters, docking those devices in maybe 10 or 15 different keyboard bases. So there's a huge amount of flexibility. But as you said, it is a combination of two hugely successful products for us in the defence space.
And still got some really defence, of course it's modular as well. We've got a top configuration port, we've got a rear configuration or expansion area. Things like hardware buttons.
Yeah.
So important, isn't it? You know, I can imagine out in the field.
Yeah, you need to be able to take the device from high brightness to low brightness really quickly. User configurable buttons sounds like something simple, but to the user makes a huge amount of difference. I think also improvements like backlit keyboard as standard, huge improvement, and from a user perspective is a real difference. The other side of things from a hardware perspective is quick release SSD functionality. The requirement to remove your SSD in the field is really important for our defence customers. This device allows them to do that quickly.
Yeah, so you could pocket the SSD. If the bit that I'd like to talk about as well is obviously concealed mode. That's something that we talked about. Brightness, that's the ability, as you said, from using a hardware button or a key button combination where you can just do a quick press and it'll just turn off all the screen, the LED lights, etc., etc. Making you completely invisible.
100%. And I think another key thing to mention about this product, John, is that the other products that we've looked at have been 14-inch devices. This is a smaller form factor at 10-inch, and we're seeing a drive towards making soldiers more mobile. And so having a smaller form factor device in our product portfolio is really important.
It's all over the news. The amount of kit they've got to carry is absolutely huge, isn't it? So yeah, so this is the G2. Fantastic product. Urge you to have a look at it. We can talk more about it later on in some of with the engineering solutions. So yeah, there it is.
Great. So now we've spent some time talking about the products individually. I think it's really important, John, that we spend a bit of time just to focus on the ecosystem that we're able to offer around the devices. It's something that we have been doing for quite a while now, successfully, right across the defence environment. A great example of that, John, would be the vehicle dock that we've launched. We do have mobility solutions, but we have been offering our defence customers other solutions, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. You've got a couple of them on show today. Cases, as you said, the vehicle docks, there are other vehicle enclosures, military standard adapters, security solutions related to the BIOS, and other things that, but basically, you're right. I think the key point is that the solution is made up of not just the product itself, the wider ecosystem. So yeah.
And we would welcome having conversations with any of our defence customers or integrator partners around anything unique or specific to their environment.
We would. We're an engineering company. We've got the ability to customise, provide a solution that they need and want, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, John, for that. So now I'm going to pass over to Julia. Julia is going to be hosting an IT security discussion. And it's great that Julia is going to be joined by representatives from companies like Microsoft, Rohde Schwarz, and Viasat. So over to you, Julia.
The trends and requirements for IT security in the defense sector. The defense sector has changed over the past decade. Not only advances in the field of information technology, but also an increasing volume of classified data gathering systems. All this means that there are new threats to face. Defense organizations need reliable and enhanced security systems for their soldiers. So I'm happy that today I'm joined by three experts: Ashwin Baliga from Microsoft, he's a product manager there; Kurt Neubauer, Director of Solutions at Rohde Schwarz Cybersecurity; and Samik Halai, Product Manager Cyber and AI at Viasat. Welcome. Let's start with a general overview. Ashwin, from Microsoft's point of view, how does the current threat landscape look like for the PC hardware and firmware space?
So when we look at the threat landscape in general over the last few years, we've seen a large number of cyber attacks that seek to exfiltrate sensitive data, spread misinformation, and even disrupt critical infrastructure. And with the pandemic over the last couple of years, this problem has only gotten worse, with nearly every industry trying to adjust to the security challenges that arise with working remotely. So maybe drilling down into the military sector, I mean, on some level, there's a reasonable expectation that the military and intelligence community should protect the broader connected infrastructure of their respective countries. And like maybe giving some examples, in the last few years alone, we saw quite a few ransomware attacks which crippled like several key industries. Like, for instance, I think there was one on the Colonial Pipeline, which is one of the largest fuel pipelines on the east coast of the United States. We saw a lot of critical healthcare infrastructure be impacted across Europe and the US during the peak of the pandemic. So there were a lot of attacks, basically. And with attacks like these, we are kind of made more aware of the growing importance of investing more time and resources into securing devices and the infrastructure, and maybe, again, not just in the military sector, but across the broader industry at large.
Yes, right. Thank you. Now, Kurt, Rohde Schwarz Cybersecurity is a pioneer in security solutions for government organizations, with many projects in Europe and especially in Germany. What trends do you see within the European defense organizations?
The main trends we see are that the usage of commercial off-the-shelf components is highly driven. And that means that we will find that the military in nearly all the systems, a COTS hardware, a standard operating system, and a specialized application on top of that, and no security. And we have to bring the whole security by software, and that's not a very simple task. And the next level is who should trust whom. So which organization and which companies are trusted by the military? And so they are more relying on state-owned companies which make the rules and certificates for hardware and also software, like the BSI in Germany. And if you have a software which brings security to any PC or any micro device, and have a so-called Zulassung in Germany, then that's a wonderful point, not only for the marketing, but also for the usage. And last but not least, the most important thing is that the weakest point is the user at the endpoint. And this might be a human under attack, as you see now in Ukraine or on any other places. So there is no place for any complicated hardware or software. They just need to have an user interface which is very simple, but the machines itself should be secure. But this security should be hidden. You should not see the security, but you can trust it.
Okay, thank you. Now over to Sam. Viasat provides a wide range of network cybersecurity, but also encryption and data protection solutions, including for the most sensitive top secret level information. Can you explain the importance of encryption technology and how Viasat has incorporated it to the product offerings, please?
So to truly understand the significance and importance of current and future encryption technologies, we need to take a step back and look at human history. Winston Churchill once said, "The story of the human race is war," and you know he was right. All the historically defining moments have quite often been defined by war, or when looking at history through the lens of technological advancements, they've been initiated by war. So humans have fought on land forever and at sea for over a millennium. Planes have been used in war for over 100 years. War in the cyber domain, however, is relative to others, is in its infancy. So the UK's first law enforcement organisation focused to fight IT crime was launched in 2001. Encryption technology is obviously a cornerstone of cybersecurity, and therefore it's important to national security and should be considered as vital as our ability to protect our physical borders. For over 15 years, Viasat data at rest encryption solutions have been used globally in government computers, in tactical frontline situations, for example, in tanks, jets, submarines, oil rigs, battleships, and emergency response units as well. Most of the time, simply by replacing the factory shipped laptop hard drive or SSD, for example, as mentioned in the TOUGHBOOK presentations earlier, the Viasat storage products currently include the equipped core SATA 2.5-inch SSD, and in future we'll have our dark SSD solutions as well, which are NVMe M.2 SSDs, which will further enhance the offering and provide more flexibility for customers.
Great. So now we have heard about encryption and hardware, but Ashwin, how does Microsoft as a vendor address the specific needs we were now talking about together with partners like Panasonic?
Microsoft introduced the Secured Core PC initiative in partnership with partners like Panasonic Connect to combat the rising threats and address the security needs of sensitive sectors such as defense and military. And well, Panasonic has had TOUGHBOOK 55 for a while now, and they recently launched TOUGHBOOK 40, and both of these are secured core PCs which target vertical customers who require high levels of security. So these devices have deeply integrated hardware, firmware, and software to help ensure that from the very first boot of the device has a very high security bar. And well, a bonus is that TOUGHBOOKs are some of the most resilient devices available in the market today. So how do secured core PCs and TOUGHBOOKs actually address these security needs, right? So they offer technologies such as Secure Boot and the Trusted Platform Module 2.2, which kind of offers the hardware root of trust and ensures that the device loads in a clean and a trusted state. System Guard Secure Launch and System Management Mode Isolation protect the device from firmware attacks, and we've seen that firmware attacks have been on the rise for the last 3, 4, 5 years now, mainly because you have the OS getting more secure. Firmware attacks, it's much harder to detect firmware attacks, and firmware rootkits and bootkits tend to persist across multiple reboots as well. So with features like Secure Launch, you know that those hypervisor secrets which are protected by the OS are only released if there's no firmware discrepancy detected. On the OS side, there are features such as virtualization-based security and hypervisor code integrity, which ensures that only signed and trusted code is allowed to run in the kernel. As a bonus, these toughbooks integrate seamlessly with other Microsoft services such as Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which facilitate zero trust security. And in this way, customers who purchase secured core PCs can get to stay ahead of some of the most advanced threats that we are seeing in the hardware and firmware space across the entire industry today.
Thank you. Now a question to Sam. How does Viasat find working with COTS commercial off-the-shelf device manufacturers?
Well, our product is essentially a hardware encryption product solution that needs to be integrated into a host machine, for example, a laptop, tablet, or desktop computer. Working directly with COTS device manufacturers is key to us being able to deliver working solutions to end customers. We are finding that COTS device manufacturers are open to working with Viasat, and certainly recent collaboration efforts have been fruitful for both sides. Ultimately, we have to join forces to deliver secure solutions to the end customer, as we face a high level of cyber threat from data that could potentially get into the wrong hands. Some of the challenges that we have seen in recent times is the availability of computers that can support the equipped core SATA 2.5-inch drive. And it's for that reason that our roadmap has been aligned to produce solutions that support PCIe, NVMe, M.2 solutions, as that is what COTS device manufacturers have been working towards. I think it was mentioned earlier on a slide that the SSDs can be swapped out, and this is why we want to make sure we're keeping up to date with the latest machine technology and storage technologies that are coming through the supply chain. Ultimately, we want to try and deliver smaller, lighter, compact COTS machines with better performance, lower power draw, and that can work in harsher environments. The Dark SSD, our NVMe M.2 solution, will be available in standard operating temperatures from 0 to 70 Celsius, as well as an extended temperature variant that will operate from -40 to +85.
Okay, interesting. As a last topic, I would like to touch tactical mobile communication. Typically, soldiers used radio systems, but for more applications, something like a smartphone is needed. But for military operations, they need to be extremely secure. Kurt, how does your customers tackle the topic of secure communication on the field?
That's a good question, and I think my customers have not answered it already, but what's the fact behind? The trend is ongoing that to communicate is not to communicate voice rather than communicating data. This will be standard. So they did not talk to each other, they send messages, they send whatever. And this to be handled very easily is done by specialized applications. For instance, applications which show you a map, including all the necessary technical information, and you put your finger on the screen and add some information and such things. So the hardware base of that is not so very important. It's not the key fact. The key fact is the trustworthy and confidentiality of the data level, both in data at rest and also data in transfer. So regardless of the hardware and also the operating system, if you can tackle these two facts, then you might get a security level which is enough. And nevertheless, there are solutions, both for standard laptops and tablets and also for smartphones. And I think the discussion at the military organizations will be in the future more from the functional point of view, which means how big should be the screen, which is usable by the soldiers. Is he sitting in a tank, or is he going in the field, and such other things. And nevertheless, we have also to look that we are now developing the next level of the cryptography. It is known as the, for instance, quantum key distribution, QKD, and in future new quantum safe secure algorithm and such things. So this will be an endless story from my point. And at the moment, I think that everybody has to take the first 1 or 2 steps to go to a total system which is secured by standard cryptography at the moment. And then there are necessary steps from that point.
Thank you. Very interesting. So I would like to thank the presenters today for their contribution. We had Kurt Neubauer from Rohde Schwarz, Cybersecurity, Samek Halai from Viasat, and Ashwin Baliga from Microsoft. Thank you very much. Let me check if there are some questions in the chat. At least I can't see some. Okay. Thank you very much again. This now concludes the IT security discussion, and I'm handing over to Pete.
Next, I'm really pleased that we can welcome back Samik from Viasat, who's going to talk a little bit more about their data at rest solutions. Panasonic work incredibly closely with Viasat, and I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say about the solutions they're able to offer. So over to you, Samik.
Viasat's data at rest hardware encryption products are world-leading data storage security devices. They are designed and manufactured in the United Kingdom and evaluated by the UK National Cyber Security Centre and used worldwide. Viasat DAR solutions can be seamlessly integrated into most commercially available computer hardware devices. Once integrated with a Viasat DAR product, any one of these end-user devices is now secured to carry data classified up to top secret. As a 256-bit AES hardware encryption solution, Viasat DAR products encrypt data to the highest level. Viasat Data at Rest encrypts data immediately and invisibly for up to 128 users per drive. Includes mandatory 2-factor authentication. Doesn't require specialist IT knowledge for users. Is UK NCSC evaluated to top secret. And offers a complete range of available protection levels and products. The Viasat Data at Rest portfolio for the highest level of encryption and ease of use. DAR supports central government, special forces, and critical infrastructure across Five Eyes and NATO. Industries in the private sector, such as financial, banking, insurance, and legal firms, can also benefit from the highest level of security that Viasat hardware encryption solutions provide. And local government entities such as police and councils can mirror the highest security standards upheld by governments and militaries worldwide by using Viasat encryption solutions. Viasat Data at Rest encryption solutions, protecting your most valuable and sensitive data where you are most vulnerable.
I hope you all enjoyed the video. Gave you a bit more insight into Viasat's new solutions, well, current and new solutions. I think it's worth mentioning and going a little bit into just understanding and distinguishing between kind of data at rest encryption and other solutions that maybe are out there, such as data in transit. product solutions as well. So essentially just looking at a standard computer system where we see data in transit being when the machine is on and there's information that's passing from the OS layer outside into the network layer and out into the cloud and coming back in to the machine itself. That's classed as being data in transit, where data is moving through the layers themselves. If you look at the red circle, that's kind of depicting the storage in the machine itself. So for example, the SSD or the hard drive, the solution that Viasat provides, and on there is stored the operating system, all apps, all data, anything that is local to the machine is stored on there. When it comes to data at rest or protecting data at rest, Viasat solutions are protecting everything that resides on that SSD or that storage device in the machine. So when it is securely powered down or whether there's loss of battery, it will enclose that into a container so that it's not accessible and there's no way in or out without having the right credentials pre-boot or pre-boot the operating system before the operating system itself. So our product solutions are historically, some of these solutions most of you may have used with Panasonic ToughBooks over the past few years at least. So we have a 2.5-inch SATA SSD in our product range that has a two-factor authentication at boot up. So it's either it's a username, it's a password, and it's a token that's attached that's unique to that drive itself. And it's available in capacities up to 1 terabyte. We also have external drives that are essentially USB 3 plug-in drives, so they're kind of like a big flash drive as such. Again, with the two-factor authentication, either pre-boot, so before the operating system, or even after boot. And the good thing about this product is, of course, that you're able to remove data from one machine and access it on another machine, and it can be, and the data is safely carried or transferred over to wherever that it needs to go next. Available in 1 terabyte and also 2 terabyte capacities, and we have UK NCSE evaluation, or these are certified at least up to top secret and below. And for NATO, it's NATO secret in that case. What we tend to also go into a little bit is it's good to know about the guidelines around this type of product. And that's not just kind of good practice, but it's generally what we recommend and what UK NCSE recommend. So there's account hierarchies or account types that should be set up upon installation. The first being the initial crypto officer, who is actually the person who is loading the key that may come from the authority themselves. So that's kind of like a one-person installation and loading the key activity. After that comes in a second user who is known as the crypto officer. It could be the same user as well, but they essentially configure the policy for the different type of users who would use this type of machine and has the ability to reset users as well. The third type is a manager, somebody who can reset users at a local level without having access to the key material itself. And the fourth being a user who can change their own password if they're allowed to do so. We have the capability to allow up to 128 users on our products. So certainly that's it's good practice to have multiple users to gain access to the data as and when required. Our current product being the SATA drive, and our newer products are going to be the NVMe M.2 SSD. So you can see that on the screen there, and pretty much in terms of the performance, I'm just trying to see if these, yeah, the performance is pretty much double what Eclipse was. So actually it works in the same way. It's just lighter, smaller, faster. It goes into newer COTS machines, you know, new types of tablets. In the past, we've not been able to get into the Panasonic ToughPads as such without having an external caddy that goes on the back. In future, we're working towards being able to be fitted into these solutions much more easier, and it's a requirement from customers, certainly in tactical situations for sure. So in our product line, we have 3 different types of products that we will be bringing to the market. The first being the Dark SSD 600, which has a 0 to 70 operating temperature. It does exactly the same thing as the Eclipse does, but it's just faster. The second product line we have will be an extended version of the same, which will be Dark SSD 600 iTemp, which will operate from -40 to +70. And both of those products we will have ready, available to ship from January next year. The third lineup in our product range is more of a commercial offering. We want to try and take these products to the kind of the different adjacent markets other than defence, and that will be also available up to the 1 terabyte capacity in the standard operating temperature. It's not exactly the same product. There are some differences, and that will be shipping from January 2023 as well. The type of accreditation behind our product. So with Eclipse, we've had the UK NCSC and we've had NATO CCAN approvals. The product has also been used by CSC in Canada, and we did have a Sunset FIP certification. For the Dark SSD product, we're expecting our evaluation status for UK NCSC or CAPS to come through prior to us shipping the product. Estimated is around sort of October, August, September of this year, and we can apply for CCAN thereafter, and the other agencies around the world would follow suit once we've got UK NCSC approval as well. Other things that Viasat do, so we don't just do data at rest encryption solutions in the UK. We do various other bits such as land solutions, air solutions, even your home internet, for example, and various things that are happening later on this year and next year is the launch of the Viasat 3 constellation, and that's just a brief overview on what we generally do. Thank you all. Thanks, Ollie. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Samik. Really interesting, and I know that the dark drive that's coming later this year is of real interest to many of our defence customers, so it's great to have an overview of that. Okay, now we're going to a 5-minute comfort break, so we'll welcome you back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, and welcome back. We're going to jump straight back into the agenda now. And I'm pleased to introduce John Tucker, who's the head of our engineering, product and solutions team at Panasonic ToughBook in Europe. And John's going to talk to us a little bit about the custom engineering solutions that we're able to offer for the defence market. So over to you, John.
Thank you, Pete. Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's doing really well, keeping safe and well. Yeah, thank you, Pete, for the introduction. So my name is John, responsible for engineering, product and solutions for ToughBook in Europe. So I've got 10 minutes. And basically what I want to show you today is we talked a bit about the product, if you like, our mobility solution. So we just want to expand on that a little bit about how we do certain device customization, some of the custom solutions that we've designed for the defense sector, special functionality within the device, and of course OS customization. So we're going to talk about Android specialization today. We also have the equivalent in the Microsoft Windows world as well. So let's just kick through to device customization. One of the, if you look at the 3 pictures, the one on the left is probably the most common type of request we get from defense organizations across Europe and actually globally. And because of our modular or gadget strategy on our products, we've got the ability to integrate mil-spec connectors onto the devices, and they can be varied across LAN, USB, serial, power, delivering all sorts of connectivity to the device. In the middle, so you've just listened to Sami from Viasat. That's we're very proud that the we've been working with Viasat for the past few years on providing CADI solutions to incorporate the equipped drives into our product. So that's already available on the ToughBook 55, and we're working with Viasat at the moment to make that available on the ToughBook 40. And then on the right-hand side is something that is typically from a rugged product perspective. Of course, going into a defence space, you want to make the product discreet as possible. So we do what we call all black units, not the rugby team, but all black units to, if you like, reduce the visibility of the products in the field. And the other thing I want to then just sort of, because I've only got 10 minutes, and of course, if there's any questions, we've got a Q&A at the end, and please contact us, but talk around some of the custom solutions that we produce for the defence sector. One of them is basically an approach that we have a turnkey design approach. So we've got a mechanical design team, an electronic design team, and a software design team that enables us to do really complex solutions for the defence sector. This is an example of a military IP rated vehicle dock. So this is something that we're working on for the ToughBook 40 at the moment. The concept around this solution will be the 40 will sit onto an adapter plate that will provide common military spec connectors, giving you all sorts of connectivity in what we call a basic version and also an extended version. That will also then sit onto a vehicle dock plate that will be vibration proof resistance. So its ideal home will be in an armoured personnel vehicle, a main battle tank, something that normally would be sort of very heavy in terms of vibration. So it'd have to be sort of really fit for purpose for that type of mission critical installation. So that's something that we're working on now. We've already got sort of proof of concept samples available. If you've got questions for that particular solution, let us know. We'd love to hear more from you. And then the second one is a product that we've released for the FZ G2 or the ToughBook G1, sorry, and we will be soon releasing that for the ToughBook G2. And this is something we call, it's a fixed enclosed mount, fixed being that it's fixed into a location into a military vehicle, but it still has that same level of customization with different mil-spec connectors. Has some other options around protecting the device around the outside and a level of military certification. And we do offer that we do additional testing where required as well. Moving on a little bit, some of the special functionality that you may or may not recognize that is inside the products. We operate what we call a concealed mode. So this is available on the ToughBook 40 and other products. And basically when you activate the concealed mode, it switches off the LCD, any backlit keyboard, any LED lights, any Wi-Fi, any wireless in the device. So it basically goes into a hidden mode, a disconnected hidden mode. So if you were in the sort of operational theatre and you were sort of at risk of being detected, you can quite quickly with a key press switch off all sort of features of the product but still keep it running. So you're not having to power down the device. And then if that's not enough, we also offer what we call an emergency mass storage wipe. So it's a similar with basically a combination key press or with a command line that we can manage through an MDM or an EMM. Will basically wipe to military standards the SSD or the HDD in the device. So in the event that you have to leave the device there and you don't have time because some of our devices have removable SSDs, you just wipe the device clean so there's no data left on the device in the field. And that's something, as I said, that's built in. That's our standard type of offering in the fully rugged range of products that we offer. And then I just wanted to touch on some of the other things we do around Android specialization. And as I said, this is, we're focusing on Android a little bit, but we've got sort of equivalent offerings from Microsoft with Windows. When you look at our history with Android, and it goes back many years back, sort of 14 years and beyond. So we've, of course, had some smartphone products in the market. That was our start of the relationship. We've released Android tablets in the past, and today we've got a suite of Android products. working up to Android 10, and soon they will be Android 11. And all of those Android products are Android Enterprise recommended as well. But I just wanted to say as well that you may or may not be familiar with, if you've flown recently, I say recently for the last few years, on a long haul plane predominantly, the in-flight entertainment systems are, we're number one in that market. You probably used a Panasonic in-flight entertainment system, and that's all powered by Android as well. So we've got that sort of play in the Android space. Similarly, in the automotive space, when we're providing the infotainment systems and controls for vehicles that are being used, particularly in the electric vehicle market today. So the history is really rich, and that's why then we've developed what we call Compass, a complete Android services and security suite of products that are all around tuning, producing tools and features that enable you to deploy the product effectively and manage that product in the field. And I just want to sort of reach out some examples. You'll hear from Jeff later on the device you can see on the side, but that then gives us the ability as a core OEM is to be able to customize the operating system, so we can provide GMS and non-GMS versions and do very specific examples, things like rapid lockdown buttons, similar to the concealed mode, taking the display down to a very low brightness setting, which is outside of the normal threshold, if you like, of the display, and then enabling things like zero touch deployment. So if you wanted to remote wipe the device and get the device back to a known pre-state, you can do those types of things. That's what our sort of Android approach is all about. From a security and support perspective, I'm not so sure if you know, but generally the Android operating system is obviously targeted into the billions of devices in the consumer space, and Google provide what we call a 3-year update to any Android operating system. We take that a stage further. So with our security standard offering, we add an additional 1 year on top of that after the operating system has gone end of life. And then we also offer what we call basically a Compass security premium. So that's an additional 3 years with up to an additional 2 years on a project basis. So it allows us to backport any patches from newer operating systems back to the older version of our operating systems, because we recognize, the focus in this particular market is we want to deploy a stable platform for a long period of time into the market. So that's why we do that in this particular space. And then basically my final slide really is, what we're all about is that continuous innovation. So constantly we are monitoring devices back through the service loop, using tools to monitor them in real time, looking at what the market is doing. Why we love doing these events is we want to hear from you, the customers, the users, so that voice of the customer is embodied into the sort of the design cycle, looking at future technologies, what is coming to the market that will give benefits of efficiency and reliability regularization for the market, and adopting best practice at the same time. So that's a constant iteration of that loop. We're always doing that in any way the product is touched or anywhere we've got an opportunity to speak to somebody. So that was a really quick whistle stop tour. So thank you for your time. If you've got any questions, of course, fire them across to us at any time, and we'll reach back out to you with any answers we can provide.
Thanks, John. Really enjoyed that, especially the flexibility around the new TOUGHBOOK 40 and the development in our Android capabilities. I think are really, really powerful when we're speaking about this market. So next, I'm really pleased to introduce Pierre from Panasonic and also Joss Martins from EuroTempest, who are going to be talking about Tempest being the underestimated threat. So over to you both. Thanks.
Hello, welcome from my side. My name's Pierre. I'm working for Panasonic, and it's my pleasure on touching another topic in our solutions that we have for our defense customers. So, like John said, on the possibilities we can and the modification we can do on our units ourselves, we touched upon data security as being a big topic for our defense customers. And next to the solutions that we already heard from our partners like Viasat, Microsoft, and Rohde Schwarz, there's another level of security that can be added, and for some people could be a new topic, but it's my pleasure to touch upon the topic of tempest protection. So if you can put my slides on, please. So it's my pleasure to introduce in a short minute a presentation from our partner EuroTempest, who have been working with Panasonic units for a long time, making them tempest proof. And just before we run the video, because they made a lovely video, I will just quickly introduce something about a tempest, if I may. Next slide, please. So basically, tempest protection is the shielding of IT equipment for leaking data that can be done by electromagnetic radiation. So basically it prevents information being read outside of the unit without touching the unit by shielding it. And this radiation can include some sensitive data. So that's why the need for protection if there is a special use for classified information as you use. And while much of the Tempest certification is about this leaking this electromagnetic signals, it also helps on providing solutions against key loggers like you know for getting passwords, data, and stuff like that. So if you can give me the next slide, please. This Tempest follows, of course, like the presentation from Viasat, some NATO standards. Basically, it's about the NATO SDIP 27 certification, where very short, you have 3 levels, from level A being the highest certification level to level C, and you can see in the sheet where it can be used. So without introducing EuroTempest now, can you please run the video, as they are the experts on this topic? Thank you.
My name is Jos Martens. I'm the Group Director of EuroTempest. EuroTempest is a company specialized in tempest modifications, which means we protect equipment from eavesdropping. For years, people underestimated the fact that eavesdropping can be done on every IT equipment. And EuroTempest actually prepares and develops modifications for that to protect this. In our line of products or modifications, we also have various Panasonic products which we prepare and which we modify to certain tempest levels. The specifications are actually based on NATO and EU specifications, and modifications are done in line of these specifications called SDIP 27 level A, B, and C. This equipment, the Panasonic equipment, is chosen because of the high quality of the equipment. So for us to develop modifications on this type of equipment, is quite easy and straightforward. Tempest belongs in the cyber defense, and you know, encrypted lines doesn't mean that you're safe to work with IT equipment or laptops or PCs or whatever. So, yeah, EuroTempest modifies the Panasonic equipment, and we do this in various levels. In case that there are questions or anything what we can add to this, and also especially modifications on not only on Tempest but also on, like, you know, encrypted hard drives or Viasat hard drives, what we build in, you know, EuroTempest is the right partner for it. You can find us on the internet on www.eurotempest.net, and in case there are questions, please don't hesitate to call us or to reach us by email or on the info line. Thank you for your attention, and hopefully you have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you, Jos, for sending us this insight in the Tempest modification possibility. So hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's an additional layer of protection that we can support with on our TOUGHBOOks. So if you have any questions or requirements, then reach out to EuroTempest directly or through your Panasonic representative. And back to you, Pete.
I want to now reintroduce Kurt from Rohde Schwarz, who will be talking about managing classified data on field deployed devices. So over to you, Kurt. Thank you.
Thank you. So hopefully you can see some slides from me. Yes, here they are. So thank you. Next slide. So when we are working with classified data, there are a lot of things we have to do, and we can visualize this in let's say 4 shells we have surrounding our classified data. If we go from the inner shell to the outside, we have the classified data. And we have to do something with this data to protect if the laptop is theft. When we communicate over insecure networks, we have to protect the data, and even if you are communicating this data by mail or by any other chat system or whatever, then you have to be aware that this data, if it is not protected, can be read by anybody. And we have to protect on the next level the workstation itself. We have to protect it from ransomware and phishing, and the biggest problems we always see are by USB devices. These are not only sticks, but also manipulated standard USB devices like the keyboards or mice or whatever. And we have to protect from dangerous downloads and documents, which can be there can be some viruses or other bad software incorporated. And if we come to the point where you log in the computer, we have to protect that only the right persons are logging in. And this means we have to manage the access to the IT workstation and to identify the users and all the other things. And this normally should be done by an private key infrastructure, and the simple thing is that you have a real private, easy to use private key infrastructure and smart card management. And last but not least, the workstation should be in a, let's say, rugged physical protection, which means it's not very easy to destroy this workstation, because you have nothing from your data if the machine is destroyed and all your data is lost. Next slide, please. If we look now on different scenarios where we use this data, we have to see, for instance, in the military environment, there are different things to look for. If we are working in the military base, it's very clear we can communicate classified data risk-free if there are some precautions in the network architecture, even over Wi-Fi in conference rooms or whatever, so it's okay. But espionage is a danger. That's why we protect the hard disk with the encryption in case of lost or theft. So it's very clear, if you lost your laptop and somebody steals it, then we have a problem. And we protect you from that problem. So if you look on the email attachments and external video conferencing, our browser encapsulation protects your workstation in the office. And as I said before, we also we avoid risks from introduced USB media by a device management. So if you are on a wired communication from the user's workstation, you don't need an additional VPN connection. Why? Because we make an automatic friendly network detection, which means you can configure which networks are friendly, and you cannot be switched to a not friendly network. And you, for instance, need rugged physical protection. Next slide, please. There are some changes when you are working during an operation, because normally you are communicating now wireless. So we use VPN technology to separate your sensitive communication data. During military operations, the workstation can get stolen or lost, so it's the same as in the base. We will protect the sensitive data on the laptop's hard drive. This is the so-called data at rest. And still running IT workstations, if they get into enemy hands, our device management protects the laptop from any threats through USB. So it's also possible that if the workstation is running, that you can protect it or the data if the enemy take hand on it. In a heated operation, things can easily get mixed up, is clear. So we have to access the classified data to only the right people. This is done by our management system. And this management system enforces your policies at all the times. And clearly a rugged physical protection. Next slide, please. So all the guys of the military are sometimes working from home. This is not only in the standard industry, it's also done in military environment. And there you have another requirement for protection. You need a secure communication for the sensitive informations via the home networks alongside smart TVs or insecure routers or smartphones or whatever. And also your friends may listen, and if they are not so good friends, this may be worse for you. So we use VPN technology on all the links. if somebody is breaking into your home, you need also the hard disk protection for your sensitive data, as said before. An isolated browser is also very important in that area, because normally you are going to the web, and on the web it is normal that you can get into contact with ransomware links and phishing and other things. And also the protection for USB sticks, cameras, and different other toys is very important if you are working at home. Because your children may want to put in a nice mouse they get from a friend, and you may get something else in software, bad software, from that mouse. To ensure that only authorized users have access, we have already the facility that you can authenticate using several factors, and if necessary at home, also a large physical protection. Next slide, please. So how can we handle that? There are 4 products we see, and a management solution for that product, which I want to introduce very quickly. So there's the R&S browser in the box. It protects you on all areas where you are in the net. If internet threats run into a void or suppression of malicious traffic, all is handled by this browser in the box. On the other side, there is R&S Trusted Disk. It encrypts your hard disk and portable external devices, whatever you are using. And nobody can look on your data without knowing how the passwords are, and so on. There's a maintenance mode for automatic system updates, so you did not have to look for updates if they are here. It will be installed automatically. Then the R&S Trusted VPN client, it secures remote access to the company's network or to a military-based network or whatever. It supports captive portals and also have zero trust networking. And the last key in that order is the Trusted Identity Manager. You can make your identity and access management in total with that. You can you can make personalization of smart cards, profiles for different IT protocols like IPsec or SMIME or PGP, and very easy and very simple to handle this. So the 3 products, beginning from Trusted Disk, Trusted VPN client, and also the Identity Manager, are approved for processing of restricted data for VS NFD in Germany, EU, and NATO restricted. And if you look, all 4 components can be managed by a central management system, which is limited to the real necessary functions of the security. So it's a very simple handling of this central management system, and therefore we make it in a special manner. So that's all. Thank you.
Move on to a pre-recorded session with Jeff. Jeff is my colleague that works for Panasonic North America, and he's the business development lead for a lot of the work we're doing around tactical devices in the US. So over to you, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for that, Peter. So as you mentioned, Jeff Henderson, I'm a strategic account manager here at Panasonic in the US DoD team. So I do predominantly business development work, focusing predominantly on our N1 tactical end user device, or EUD. So if you're not familiar with ATAC, we do a ton of work with ATAC. On the civilian side, it's the Android Team Awareness Kit. On the military side, it's the Android Tactical Assault Kit. But ATAC's basically a very powerful situational awareness, or SA tool, that allows me to, if I'm on a team trying to conduct a mission, or a SWAT team out executing a warrant, doing any kind of things where I need to see where my team members are, this is a very powerful tool that allows me to do that. So if you look at that little picture on the bottom left, the blue arrow is indicating my position, and then you see those two blue dots that are two of the team members from that exercise. So this was originally developed by Air Force Research Lab and was publicly released 2 years ago in the civilian variant. So now we actually see it not only being used within the military, but also with organizations fighting fires, or again, SWAT teams, those kind of scenarios where you need to know where your people are, be able to send messages, be able to drop points of interest, all those kind of SA capabilities. ATAC brings that to our customers. So when solutions like ATAC originally came out, the only real viable hardware to use those solutions was just consumer hardware, so consumer cell phones, consumer tablets. And we now feel like we have better solutions for these, which we'll obviously get into more. But I support a lot of DoD exercises where we insert our technology into training exercises, mock missions, those kind of things. So I've actually seen on the ground soldiers trying to use consumer devices and struggling with using them in various, different scenarios. So we'll go through some of that, but two quick stories. So one, working with a company that they actually do mortar fire control. So they automated a manual targeting process into an application and reduced that target acquisition time from 10 minutes down to 30 seconds. But they were using consumer hardware, and they literally put a phone onto a mortar launcher, and they first had to build a little hood around the phone so that they could see it in direct sunlight. And everyone got excited when they reduced that acquisition time from 10 minutes to 30 seconds, but then it got too hot, so all the phones started shutting down. So they actually use our N1 EUD now for that same application. And another, we were working on an Army exercise, and they were calling in resupply. So they're actually using an unmanned aerial vehicle, or a UAV, to drop resupply into soldiers in the field. And it was working fine, but you actually drop a pin on the map where those soldiers are. And when it started raining, the raindrops actually tried to send that vehicle to the wrong area. So just two quick examples of people struggling to use consumer devices in field applications. So let's go through a couple of these points here. One big challenge, those are consumer devices first. So they get upgraded frequently, they change frequently, they're not ruggedized. Focus on the consumer market first. They're trying to get new technology on those devices as quickly as possible. New cameras, new CPUs, all those, a new operating system. That leads to frequent unplanned product changes. That makes it hard for customers to plan for. You'll see pictures later of using these devices in cases and mounts and those kinds of things where you may have accessories and things for a device, and then if they change that unexpectedly, that can obviously cause issues. Lack of functionality, adverse weather, so we'll get into this more, but direct sunlight, heat, cold, all those things that we deal with when we're in the field. And then lastly, a lot of times these consumer devices come with license fees, update fees, all these things that could just cause problems for our customers. So we came out with the N1 Tactical back in 2018. So if you see that picture on the left, that was our first N1, which we still make. So that's actually really common or really popular in the logistics space. So if you look at that top portion of the device, it's got an angled barcode scanner. So we have customers like UPS, FedEx, people scanning packages and using the devices for logistics applications. But we went to our factory and said, you know what, we could really use a fully rugged Android handheld, but we don't need the barcode scanner. So they actually created this device specifically for these type of applications. So just some of the features of the N1 Tactical. So mentioned consumer devices are hard to see in direct sunlight. This is actually a 500 nit daylight readable display. It's an enterprise grade CPU, so this allows us to keep the product consistent for as long as possible. It's fully rugged, 7-foot drop tested, IP66 and 68. So that's important because it's not just waterproof, it's also tested against blowing rain. We send it through the same mil standard 810G testing that we do all traditional ToughBooks. Today, the N1 is on Android 9. That's actually moving to Android 11, supposed to be later this month. The battery life is really good on the device. So another example, exercise down at Fort Benning, we had to support a 72-hour mission. So we had a team with consumer devices and then a team with our N1 Tacticals. And my team was able to sustain a 72-hour mission because I gave them a device and 3 batteries each. So you can, the battery life, even in real world, we see, you know, if you're really hitting it hard, about 13 or 14 hours. But then in that example, my guys were just able to swap the batteries and stay in the field for the entire 72-hour mission. There's 8 hardware programmable buttons. So you see those 3 across the bottom there. There's one on the right side, one on the left side, and then the volume buttons can do whatever you want. So if you're toggling between applications, you know, like a lot of the exercises, we're going back and forth from like a radio app to ATAC to settings. So I just tie those buttons to all those different apps and settings, and you can just quickly switch back and forth. This is a big point. So I mentioned the problem with rain earlier. So our device actually has a Panasonic patented rain and glove touch mode. So if you put that device in rain mode and then it starts raining, the device will actually ignore raindrops. So if you ever try to use a cell phone while it's raining, the raindrops actually trigger the screen. Whereas if you put that N1 in rain mode, it ignores raindrops. So it's actually functional in active rain. And it's tested with gloves. So we've done standard issue Army gloves. You can wear thick gloves if you're trying to work in extreme cold. So those 2 touch modes are extremely helpful. Mentioned how consumer devices get upgraded frequently. Our products, much like traditional ToughBooks, are very stable. We have a predictable roadmap. We can show customers when a product's going to go end of life, when a new product's coming. And this has been its current form since August of 2020 and will be until sometime late next year. And then most consumer devices have a 1-year standard warranty. We have our standard ToughBook warranty on the N1 Tactical. So that's a standard 3-year Panasonic warranty. So back to the rain mode real quick. So I actually did some videos last summer. So I actually put a consumer cell phone and an N1 Tactical outside and then put the N1 in rain mode and then sprayed both devices with a hose. And these are just some still shots from those videos. We're actually doing some more professional, basically a professional version of that testing next month. But just to show you real quick what happened in that bottom right picture, as soon as I hit that consumer cell phone with the hose, it started shutting down apps. It actually ended up going directly to the home screen. Whereas not only did the N1 not react at all, you actually see me still able to use the device even though the screen's wet. So Panasonic's obviously been in this space for a long time. Our first ToughBook was launched in 1996. Been the market leader for over 20 years. DoD, federal agencies, first responders, firefighters, all those people with critical missions where hardware is extremely important, needs to be not only reliable, but also functional. So we've been in this space for a long time. Now we're trying to tell customers, basically, you've trusted us for over 20 years to do all these vehicle applications, everything else. So basically, if you've got a need for an end user device or an EUD, why not also trust Panasonic for those applications? So I mentioned the MIL standard 810G testing. So this is just one page from our MIL standard 810G report. But if any customers want to see exactly what we test to, we can provide this report to customers so you can see, high-low operating conditions, all those different tests we do. With our customers, and I know this is true with customers in Europe as well, but cybersecurity and just device security is extremely important. So NIAP's a big test criteria here in the US. So we're certified for NIAP with the N1 on Android 9. That will be also certified on Android 11 either July or August of this year. And then we're also following on with CSFC certification and FIPS 140-3. So beyond the N1 Tactile, you'll see images later in the presentation of our other Android tablets, but we should by later this year have all 3 products on Android 11 certified for all of these various cyber certifications. So communications or comms, you'll see these 2 pictures on the left here. This is typically what we're doing with customers. So physically connecting into military radios. If you look in that picture on the left, there's also a battery in the middle. So that battery kind of kicks power between the EUD and the radio, and sometimes even other equipment. And picture in the middle is a second military radio, but just showing that we have integrated with pretty much every military radio that the US and our partner nations use. Bottom right, you'll see a picture of me connected to a private 4G network. And then top right, that's actually a Somewhere Labs satellite hotspot. So that N1 is actually in airplane mode, but I'm still pulling PLI and GPS over that hotspot. So customers in training missions and in actual missions typically have a PACE plan, or it's primary, alternate, contingent, and emergency. So that's basically, as an example, if we were operating with that military radio on the left and that connection failed for whatever reason, I could fail over to that hotspot, just as an example of, got my primary comms, secondary, third, and then emergency. But we've done a lot of work in this community to make sure that we can integrate with all those radios, integrate with things like that hotspot or private 4G networks with custom SIMs, so that when customers come to us with various comms plans, we've most likely tested everything they need us to integrate with. And ATAC doesn't matter. This is actually comms agnostic. So as long as ATAC has some sort of connection, then it will operate. This Army Expeditionary War Experiment, or AWE, is one of the big exercises we support every spring down at Fort Benning, Georgia. But this is a really good example of soldiers actually using our hardware in real exercises. So if you see that picture on the left, that's our S1 7-inch tablet. In the middle, that's our A3 10-inch tablet. So these were real squad and team leaders actually doing mission packages on the larger tablets, which is a little bit easier. And then they push that down to the guys that are actually going to execute the mission. So that picture on the right, he's got an N1 EUD strapped to his chest plate. So again, they do the mission package on the tablets and then push that down to the guys executing. So in summary, ATAC and other SA solutions are widely deployed today and growing very quickly, especially since I mentioned the ATAC was actually released to the public 2 years ago. People are using it for all kinds of things. And again, we've deployed hardware for these type of environments for over 20 years. With the development of the N1 Tactical, we feel like we're the best partner to run those applications. But back to the tablets. So we have the most robust line of products to support that whole stack of units. So everything from the end user device on a soldier's chest to the 7-inch and 10-inch tablet to our traditional Windows laptops and tablets. So there's also WinTAC, which is an application that can integrate with ATAC. So you can run Windows laptops, Android tablets, Android handhelds. And then we've also done a lot of work in the third-party space. So we have third-party cases, chest mounts, cables, and then also ISVs. So a lot of customers require us to check different security boxes. So a lot of times we'll work with third-party software vendors to integrate with N1 and other products to provide that capability. So that's the end of the presentation. We appreciate you guys joining today and letting us speak in your forum. If any customers have any questions, comments, projects you want to work on together, please feel free to reach out to me directly or my counterparts on the EU team. So thank you again and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Jeff. We're really excited about the N1 tactical launch in Europe this year. So really appreciate your insights in that space. I'm now going to pass over to Stephen Vindervogel, who's our Deputy Head of our ToughBook European business, to close the forum. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Pete. And this is exactly the Defense Solutions Forum closing. I was very excited to organize this event. Would like to thank all my colleagues who have been working very hard to get this done. There's always a lot of preparation for such an event, even if it's virtually. I think the big takeaway that we wanted to give to all the attendees was that the importance of course, IT and data security for the defense sector in combination with what we call fit-for-purpose devices. And that doesn't only mean reliability, as we offer as a standard feature on our products, but also the customization and the way that we can really rework our units to fit your markets. So I think that was very clear when we introduced the new ToughBook 40 and the N1 Tactical on top of what we already have in the market, our ToughBook G2. So a very interesting event as far as I'm concerned, and I'm hoping that all of you have enjoyed it. I would like to thank you very much for taking the time. Very appreciated that that we could host you again, even virtually. It's a big honor to have you here. On top of that, I would also like to thank all of our partners, the presenters, so companies Microsoft, Viasat, Rohde Schwarz, Elexo, ATOS, EuroTempest, and on top we had our US guest, Jeff, who could close the afternoon. So a big thanks to everybody again, and we hope to see you in the near future, and hopefully this could be done face-to-face somewhere. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and evening.